What is up? 24 subscribers. Hope everyone is doing well. Today, I want to talk about something that I firmly believe in and I have been practicing for quite a while now, and I'm hoping that maybe some of you will have a go at it. I think it is definitely some valuable information, I hope. Some people, this might work for some people, it may not work for others, but let's dive on in. It's the idea of eating every 3 to 4 hours, and that can really go out to eating, three bigger meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and having two relatively good-sized snacks in between. Or you could portion everything out every 2 to 4 hours in like a macronutrient style. And the reason I like this, first, right off the bat, for anyone who is trying to be athletic, whether it build muscle or to just be a little more fit, or maybe they're training for a race, there's something called, and this is really the only scientific thing I'm going to talk about, it's called muscle protein synthesis, which is essentially muscle growth and remodeling. And what that is exactly what it sounds, and it's stimulated every 3 hours. So if you would think that the best way to build muscle would be to eat every 20 minutes versus every 24 hours, the best way that your muscle essentially goes through the process of rebuilding and rehealing. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a bodybuilder or if you are just working a daily job and life's kind of beating you down. In general, your muscle protein synthesis, that remodeling, that rehealing process, regenerates every 3 hours. So if you get in a good meal, typically something with protein and carbs, then you will stimulate muscle protein synthesis every 3 hours. So that's why a lot of athletes try to eat every 3 hours or so, or even if they want to have 3 meals and have some good protein sources in between, like protein shake or chicken or some sort of dairy product or soy product. I'm not going to get into proteins now, but that is the first idea, is to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Second is going to be portion control, and this is huge. How many people maybe they skip breakfast, they're not into it, and by the time they get to lunch, their stomach is absolutely rumbling. Well, the thing is that when you go that very, very long period of time, the hunger pangs, those hunger contractions in your stomach are going to be stronger and stronger and stronger as you go on, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a dip in blood sugar, and your body's basically saying to you, hey, I'm not feeling great, I got to get things back up again. And what's going to end up happening, if you remember from the video on carbohydrates, I'll link it up there, is that what you're going to do is you're probably going to end up having a big craving for very fatty, salty, carby things, because those things will increase your blood sugar up very, very quickly, as opposed to a complex carb or something that's very healthy, maybe something that is high in protein, something that is high in micronutrients like fruits and veggies. You're not really going to have a huge craving for that. So it's kind of a cool test to do. You're probably going to be a lot more in the mood for something very carby and fatty if you waited a much longer time. You wait for those hunger contractions, those hunger pangs to add up. So number 2 is portion control. So really, it's going to be much easier if you eat every 2, 3, 4 hours, because you're not going to be starving in between, and you can really have a better grasp of what you're going to put in your body and what you can plan to put in. Next one, as we talked about, was blood sugar control. And what I kind of just want to say about that is basically, as I said before in one of my previous videos, that your brain runs off of glucose, which is carbohydrates. So if you, I don't know, people always say how after lunch they end up having like a big dip, they want to take a nap after lunch. I don't really know what that feels like, because I try to eat every 3 or so hours. But if you're eating something that's very unhealthy, or if you're having like a big calorie punch, 900 calories, maybe even 1,000 calories per meal, typically, as I said before, you're going to have that big spike in blood sugar. Insulin's going to drive it out, and you're going to kind of dip a little bit in blood sugar, so you're going to feel very tired after a meal. So typically, if you're going to have very small meals, you're going to have a very steady blood sugar throughout the day. Mentally, you'll feel great, and physically, you'll feel great as well. Number 4 is going to be increased metabolic rate, and that is, I think that's like an amazing thing. You can see a lot of cool research on this and a lot of videos, And people will tell you that in order to really increase the rate at which you burn off foods that increase your metabolic rate, eating every 2, 3, 4 hours will help that, especially eating in those smaller portions. You're always keeping that engine revving, and you're going to continue burning food throughout the day. The next one is going to be digestion, and this is something huge for people who have digestive issues. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in the GI system with digestion. It's not only older people, it can be younger people. For whatever reasons, people have issues digesting, and to eat smaller portions throughout the day as opposed to a big bolus of food, a big giant chunk. You can have very small meals throughout the day. It's going to really help with digestion. You're not going to be burping and having a lot of gas and everything. So try to eat smaller meals. And the last one, just some examples. As I said, you can have 3 meals throughout the day, especially if you have a family, you have friends, and having a lunch with coworkers or whatever is a very social thing. That's completely fine. But then also try to have snacks in between the day. I know a lot of people try to go on like these diets, and maybe they don't know really know where to start or where to end, and they'll do really, really great throughout the day. They'll eat. I had a friend one time who would, throughout the day, she would eat, protein shakes, almonds, kale and egg white omelets. Like, she was rocking out, eating some great stuff, and then at night she'd completely fall off and just eat a ton of she always make cookies at night and just find reasons to make all these different things. And a lot of times also another friend would just chow down and eat like pizza at the end of the night because he didn't have any time to make food or whatever it was. So, don't fall into that trap. One of my favorite sayings is to control your environment and don't get controlled by it. So even if it's as easy as throwing a protein bar in your bag, or packing a little sandwich, or having some almonds or nuts or whatever it might be, or stashing something in the refrigerator at work, whatever it is, make sure that it works for you. It doesn't have to be something like meal prep, for example. You just want to make sure that you're eating steadily throughout the day, and trust me, your metabolic rate will speed up a little bit. You'll have even a little more portion control, and you'll be more motivated to just really take a good, honest look at what you're eating throughout the day. But in general, this has worked for me, and I know it's worked for a lot of other people. You don't have to take this advice. It's completely fine. I just thought I'd pass this along because this is something that I think is overlooked. A lot of people talk about portion control, and I think this is just a perfect way of doing it. I actually have a timer on my phone that lets me know to eat every 3 hours, and it helps. I don't use it too much anymore because I kind of just know every 3 hours I'm going to eat. So in general, 24 subscribers. Thanks for sticking with. Thank you for watching, and catch you later.